I'm Capriato, the Service Aftermarkets podcast pioneer with the gold standard of aftermarket business podcasts. Join me for Aftermarket Insights as we advance the aftermarket. And as always, know that you'll learn just one thing. Find us on your favorite podcast listening app and remarkableresults.biz or on my YouTube channel. Hey everybody, Carm Capriato. Good to have you here. Another Town Hall Academy. We're going to do an update on Profit First, the great book from Mike Michalowicz, and I'll talk about that. I did interview Mike a while back, and it really, I believe, his book within our industry, within our automotive service repair aftermarket, really started a revolution on how to manage cash, and we're gonna talk about that. But before we get started, for over 30 years, NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the best, most comprehensive SMS in the industry. We'll prove to you that Trax is the single best shop management system in the business. Find NAPA Trax on the web at NAPATRACS.com. And AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching will help you shift your gears and redefine your success. Imagine your business not just meeting, but exceeding every goal. Talk to my friend Chris Cotton at AutoShopCoaching.com. And are you ready to optimize training with today's class? Well, in just 5 minutes daily, boost knowledge, retention, and improve team performance. Start seeing results today. You're going to love this. Join your peers at todaysclass.com. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and thanks. Okay, hey, it's a hot summer out there. We're recording this in the summer of 2024. Good to have you all here. As I said, if you weren't here and you weren't supporting the show, and if it's not on Spotify, if it's not on Apple iTunes, if it's not on iHeart, on your favorite podcast listening app, and of course, as you know, on our YouTube channel. I'd like to introduce my guests. Yes, look who we have. We have Heather DePriest from American Garage in Chinook, Montana. Hello, Heather.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here and bringing your passion and knowledge about Profit First. And Dan Bryant, the CFO of American Pride Automotive, 5-store group in Virginia.
Thanks for having us. Soon to be 6.
Soon to be 6. Can't keep track of you. Successful growing shops. That's really, really exciting for you. Really exciting, Dan. Look, Profit First is kind of, if you will, in concept, everyone. Like I think mom and dad may have taught us years and years ago. I'm not saying everyone, but here's a piggy bank for this and a little jar for that. And if you want to save to buy your first skateboard, bicycle, or whatever it is, you got to take some of that chore money and put it away. It's an incredible concept and so smart. So many shop owners have really accredited having cash in the business to Profit First. And I want to start out with you, Heather. You said one of your talking points was the hardest part was actually starting. I just love that point. Did you procrastinate a lot?
I did. It was something that took me quite a while to start, but once I started, it was the most beneficial thing for us. It's a really incredible thing, and we really have had great success with it.
Amazing when people say, listen, sales tax is due, or I have to make my quarterly to the IRS, or my parts bill is due. There's really no mistake about where that money sits, is there?
No, there's not. And it's nice to be able to just pull from those accounts and not have to really worry about it. You sleep better at night.
So this whole general fund thing, Dan, that many shop owners pull from is the wrong place to put all your money.
Absolutely. What Profit First has done for us is incredible. I'll tell you, it's a way for, if you're not a CPA, it's a way to budget. It's a way to make sure that your tax payments are on time. And one of my points, I have a different perspective than Heather will because, I'm the CFO, but I don't own the business. And I don't think that our owner here would have a problem with me saying that it helped really to train him what he could spend and what he can't, which is what brings me to, really Parkinson's law and the idea that even say with your diet, you start with a smaller plate, that's what you'll end up eating. And if you have a larger plate, you will consume everything that's there. That's called Parkinson's law, and that is 100% accurate in my experience.
Yeah, Parkinson's law simply says work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. And if the plate has lots of macaroni on it, you're going to eat it all. You know what? Thank you for reminding me, Dan. When I'm done with this, I'm going to go to Ann and I'm going to say we are now reducing the plate sizes in everything that we do. Even the ice cream bowl needs to go tiny.
It's hard to do.
It is.
I love the ice cream.
I get it. One of the key things that really hit me hard when I interviewed Mike Michalowicz, it was back, believe it or not, in April 2019. Go to the website, type in 421, which is episode 421, and listen to Mike Michalowicz talk about Profit First. And we've done other updates since then. But the deal is when you do Profit First, to me, the greatest lesson or imagery, and jump in anytime, challenge my think. The imagery is, if I can't pay any more bills out of the general fund that's left after I have allocated monies to not only owner bonus and sales tax and parts and all of the different percentages that you move your cash to other accounts, if you can't pay all your bills, just imagine if there was a general fund and you just kept spending and spending and spending and spending because, well, I just threw $3,000 in the bank today. I'll buy a new lift, right? You can't do that. And that's the beauty. When the general fund is shallow, which means everything else has been allocated, that points, Dan, to a couple of issues in the business. Now, I have my thoughts of what those issues are. What are yours?
Well, you could start by looking at what superfluous expenses are there. I mean, for us, allocating the profit first really started our budget in the proper direction. We've implemented this about 5 years ago. And like I say, we have transitioned away from having to have a payment plan with the IRS, for instance, to being able to get ahead of that on the current year and not facing any penalties or interest or anything else that comes when you just don't have the money to pay your taxes.
Right.
And that was a big one. I mean, there were times where we had to budget when we could send out certain bill payments to our vendors or whatever. And we used to have a method where we'd write up where the stamp goes and when it's due and how much it is and look at that every day and see what we can send out. And, with having the proper allocations for our operating expense accounts, and more importantly, having the profit, having the owner's comp, having the tax accounts, and then using those two sacred inconvenient accounts for storing your profit and the tax payments, that's just been a total game changer here at American Pride.
Yeah, thank you for being so honest and transparent on those issues that you just brought up. When owners aren't managing cash in a proper way and spend from a general fund, and then they can't pay the most critical bills that are important to them, they start realizing that it's just a hobby and it's a grind and you're just going in every day and you can't hire any new people. And my God, if I'm not making any money, I can't have anybody new. And I can't even imagine the stress that is levied on an individual who is not managing cash well. But another big part, not only of costs going crazy, and Heather, please jump in on this, is I think about, let me see. I'm not making a lot of money. I'm making a couple of $1,000s at the end of the year, and that's probably okay. And my answer is no, it's not. But if I don't have enough in the general fund, how can I improve it? Maybe it's sales, maybe it's margin, maybe it's a lot, maybe it's labor matrices, margin matrices. There's a lot of other places to look, right?
There absolutely is. And if you don't have a coaching company helping you with some of this stuff, then I feel like you really should get one. Those are very, very, very important in my opinion. And this implementing Profit First has really helped that.
I totally agree. Thanks for dropping in the coaching thing, because I'm a big fan of the critical need of coaches. And in fact, just the other day, I was at lunch today with some really great people. And I said, I just want to go on record to say this, that we all need to go to night school. Anybody who's not really doing well in their business needs to go to night school. And then I wait for someone to say, well, Carm, I didn't know they had night school for automotive repair shops. Well, they really don't, but you could go get some kind of general business education, or if you really want night school, hire a coach, and then you can go to school daytime.
Absolutely.
I would agree with that as well. Yes, the coach was well, actually, I think we got the idea from Profit First from the business coach. So that was, between shoring up things on the retail side of things, margins and labor rates and processes, Profit First was pivotal on the back end of things. Absolutely.
I agree. And, margin in sales, you pay bills out of gross margin dollars. So either you don't have enough gross margin dollars coming in, or there could be some tweak to your margin that, of course, produces the kind of cash that you need to pay your bills with. But if you siphon off the monies that need to go to critical, most important places, and you don't have enough, it's a red flag. It's a warning sign. And if you can't figure it out yourself, and maybe your accountant, who may not be versed in how our business totally runs, then you've got to go for some other help. And again, I think that is it's a great warning flag that says you may need a coach. Dan, you know what the core principles of Profit First are. Let's kind of go over them. And Heather, jump in anytime, okay?
Well,
sure. Well, the first core principle is to set up your main accounts. And the idea is that you have a primary account where all of your deposits hit. We call it income. From there, and we modify what the book says by a little bit. I'll do a sweep of the accounts every week, for instance. But from there, they will go to your main operating account. They will go to a profit account, an account for owner's compensation, an account for tax withholding, and we will also do a capital improvement account. So if that account is in case a building needs a new air conditioner or a large expenditure. So that's a percentage on our line too. Those are the basic ones from the book. We expand that further into a corporate excursion account, which is intended to take the employees on a vacation, usually at the end of Q3, and then a charity account that we will work with local nonprofits, or that's for our charitable expenses, basically. Start with those accounts, and you then, every week for us, we will allocate everything out of that income account based on percentage, which I believe Mike calls caps, and we'll distribute that between the other 6 accounts. So that's the small plates. That's the start of it. From there, it's serving those accounts sequentially. So you basically will, in the food example I mentioned earlier, you're going to eat your veggies first. So in this case, your veggies are your profit, your tax. You're going to eat those first, and then the rest of it gets allocated from there, which really moves you into the third core principle, which is removing temptation. This is where it's really training the owner of the business what they can use and what they can't. So now the owner can log on and see all the account balances in 10 seconds every day and see what cash is available. And they know there's certain accounts that you can't mess with. So now that money has been taken from a large plate into a smaller one. And from there, it's really enforcing the rhythm. And the rhythm is back to when you're paying your bills, when you're sweeping your accounts. In the Profit First book, they talk about a 10 and 25 method. So on the 10th and the 25th, that's when you do your sweep, and that's when you pay your bills.
A great outline. Thank you for that. Heather, how about the rhythm? How are you doing it?
Yes. So for us, ultimately, we don't have as many accounts as some shops probably do, but we keep our accounts very simple and for very important purposes. Obviously, we have our tax account, we have our parts account, we have a profit account, and we've also got a savings account, and that savings account has enabled us to build a brand new building. So we're pretty excited about that.
Ooh, wow, that's cool. Congrats. Excellent. When did that all happen?
This week. They're digging this week, so it's pretty fun stuff for us right now.
Wow, isn't that great? We got to save for a new building. How do we do that? I don't know. Let's just keep. And then the other great story that has always happened, and I'll never forget the accountant coming in and saying, well, okay, you owe X to the IRS and you made X. And I said, where is it? Let's look at the balance. Let's look at the balance sheet, Carm. We'll find it there.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think it's important to really just do this and set it up and make sure you're following it. A lot of times I think somebody feels like they're short on their parts that month or something of that nature. You have the ability to kind of pull from other accounts if you need to. But in our case, we haven't had to. Once you get your percentages set up correctly, then you shouldn't have an issue.
Wow. Okay. So if I, Heather, was going to go to my bank and says, I'd like to open these 8 different accounts, are they going to look at you and say, are you crazy?
So our bank was really great about it, but I do know we have a shop in our 20 group that's actually from Canada. And in Canada, they charge per account. So I think it's pretty important that you find a bank that works with you. So if you have a bank that's charging you per account, maybe you need a new bank.
Thoughts, Dan?
Oh, absolutely. We did not have any trouble with our existing banking relationship. We got fortunate there. When it came down to it, the next point after you set up the normal accounts, you have that, they call it the Inconvenient Bank, that some of those excess dollars in the profit and tax go to. And we were able to get a hold of that bank. The idea there being that you don't have any way other than walking in there to access the funds. It removes the temptation to enforce the third core principle.
I got to stop you for that. I mean, to me, that's bold. That's bold and brassy to go to an inconvenient bank that you don't even want a debit card or any kind of card with, right? It's
all about removing temptation.
Is it hard to do an inter competing bank transfer?
No, because those transfers are only done quarterly. So yes, the inconvenient portion, it's the way the Profit First is written, only 2 accounts get moved to an inconvenient bank. It's the profit and the tax. So at the end of the quarter, the way the profit account works is that account gets liquidated. Half of it goes to the owner as a distribution, and half of it goes to the inconvenient bank. And the purpose of that is to save for a large thing such as building expansion or a really major project, a full remodel, stuff like that, money you want to put back into the business. The tax account is similar as well, but it just moves everything over there until it's time to pay the Uncle Sam.
Dan, are you walking over with a check or is it an electronic transfer?
You could do it whichever way is comfortable. We are doing it with the check because we're trying to keep it inconvenient on purpose. There's a lot of talk in the book about that, and it will make some people uncomfortable and perhaps want to set the book down thinking it's crazy witchcraft. But I think Heather and I can say that it truly does work. And it's, since we brought on Profit First in 2019, we had 3 locations. And we were having trouble budgeting for the bills and for the tax payments. And I can tell you that I don't have that problem. And we have since expanded to 5, and number 6 will go online in September. So
congratulations.
It's really worked.
Yeah, congrats. If there's any proof in the pudding that managing your cash is so critical. And it's like playing in a sandbox. If you don't put the sand in certain cubicles and move it somewhere so that you can't build a castle out of it. Oh, there's a great analogy. If it's all in the sandbox and you want to build a castle, all of a sudden, look at all this beautiful new equipment that I have, but I can't meet payroll Friday.
Yes.
If you can't meet payroll, you're going to have bigger problems very soon.
Exactly right. I mean, to me, that's the biggest thing that you could say to anyone who's ever been in that zone of struggle. Dan, Heather, so many business owners have been there and done that in their early life. It's the hole of struggle. You got to know when to stop digging so you can get up and out. But
and I'm sure you've done a podcast about the talent acquisition in our industry.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's harder than ever to find qualified people. So yeah, if you can't pay them and let them walk, you're not going to be around very long today.
Hey, let's face it. Your shop management system is the single most important tool in your shop, period. NAPA Trax has made selecting the right shop management system easy by offering the industry's best, most comprehensive SMS. Now, it all starts when a local representative meets with you to learn about your business and how you need to run it. After all, it's your shop, so it's your choice, and having local representation is a huge plus. Customizing Trax to your business, whether you're a one-person shop or a large multi-bay or multi-location company, a representative consults with you to help optimize your shop's workflow, efficiency, and profitability. Trax always has the flexibility to do business how you need to do it, which means it can also grow as your business grows. And unlike the other guys, we'll be there for you after installation with the best training and support in the business. Yes, a learning management system tailored to each role in your company. Simply put, Trax was designed and built for shop owners just like you. Visit us on the web at NAPATRACS, that's NAPATRACS.com. In the world of auto repair, every shop has its unique rhythm and challenges. At AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, they understand that one size does not fit all. That's why we offer personalized business coaching, tailoring our advice to meet your shop's specific needs. Transform your operations with strategies and tools to streamline your workflow, reduce waste, and skyrocket productivity. And when it comes to the numbers, we've got you covered. Our financial management guidance helps you master your finances from cash flow to profit margins, ensuring your revenue grows stronger. Every day, AutoFix Auto Shop Coaching, empowering your shop to achieve more. Visit us at autoshopcoaching.com. Transform your team with today's class, where automotive training is easy, quick, and fun. Just 5 minutes a day on our app can eliminate hours of looking up forgotten information later. It's perfect for technicians, advisors, and managers alike. Keep critical knowledge fresh and top of mind, ensuring your team operates at peak efficiency. Today's class is impactful, accessible from anywhere, and a bit of fun too, and we're not talking about after-hours pizza either. For training that gets results, turn to todaysclass.com. So, the bank, you had no banking issues at all again, Heather, right?
No, our local bank was wonderful. We never had any problems. I actually mentioned this to them when we first started, and our local bank had no other businesses doing the exact same thing we were. So we kind of pioneered it in our area. So we've told our bank about it, and they've shared that with others.
How many in your 20 group are in doing Profit First?
So they're all supposed to be, but I know that there's a couple in our 20 group that haven't set up their accounts yet, but most of our 20 group has.
And how do you convince those couple that haven't to do it? I mean, do you go in and says, hey, you're sweating your cash at all? And you should be doing this.
Yeah, I've mentioned it to them several times that it's very important they need to do it. I feel like they will eventually. They just have to kind of accept the idea.
It has been what a great tool for business owners that are serious about sustaining their business, because if you don't manage your cash right, you can't get anywhere, Dan. And it's the proof of the things that you said. If it's not wealth, managing and growing wealth, it's looking to expand, which also at the end of the day grows and expands your wealth as you grow, but so smartly that you have to do it today. You just don't take on a second store just because you had an opportunity to steal a business from somebody. You just don't.
Well, we've been there as well. I'm looking back now. We expanded to our second location. We bought the building in 2008. Everything went, you know what the market was like back then. Everything went crazy. The real estate, everything just imploded. We're thinking, well, maybe we can rent the property out. We don't have the cash flow to be able to build it out at this point. And finally, Charlie was able to, really, he bit the bullet, and like many owners do, and financed it himself, hoping it's a good decision. And if it's not, then what?
You're so right. I mean, this is Profit First is all about taking control. And for a lot of people, they push back because they really do believe they've got the right formula, and they struggle for this. And the supplier worked with us, and the attorney bailed me out a little bit of the IRS issue. And the accountant says, you need to make more money. I don't know how to do that. And if the accountant really doesn't know your business, the only thing he knows is sales, gross margin, and cost. And he's going to tell you to go out. He doesn't know how to have you grow your sales, but he's going to tell you to cut your costs. And then as you're cutting your costs, meaning you're not paying people what they're worth, or at least to find great talent, and now your uniforms are dirty because you're not getting them laundered as often. And I shouldn't go down that crazy list, but there are things. Yeah, I know.
It's hard to save a business through saving.
Exactly. By cutting, you cut to the bone, and then you have no flesh on it.
And it has to come from somewhere. In a small business, frequently it's from ownership. I've heard of several stories of business owners who are in that type of position, and when they do their taxes at the end of the year, they learn they really didn't make any money. Some say, why am I doing this, and want to get out. And we've all heard stories of entrepreneurs that didn't make it.
Yeah, the worst thing to do is to look at that general fund and says, hey, we got 25 grand there. Let's buy that new scope. But 20 of it I mean, 22 of it is already allocated, and you just don't get that gutty feel, on the 15th of the month that you need all that cash that has come in.
You're right. And I think the worst thing you can do is purchase based on a bank account. We have accounting software for a reason. The accounting software is way more up to date than what the bank says. Any checks in the mail are already accounted for over here, but not necessarily in the general fund account.
Well, this is a great overview of Profit First. I don't think maybe we've convinced a few people in the audience, our listeners, to go back, listen to that episode 421 with Mike Michalowicz, the actual author of Profit First. Basically, the title of that episode was Making Profitability a Habit. And inside his book, Profit First, we really do encourage you, because so many, as I've chatted with so many successful owners over the years, there's a couple of magical things that happened to them. 3 criticals: they got a coach, they implemented Profit First, and they figured out how to make a sustainable profit so that they can hire the right people and have that cushion. And I got to go back to the excursion account, Dan. I mean, wow, that is just the coolest.
Saving for it on a weekly basis is great. Now that we're at 5 stores, for instance, last October, we took the entire company to an excursion to the beach. Now, granted, it was outside of it was October, but it was unseasonably warm October. So we went to the beach. We had meals together. We did deep sea fishing and other excursions, whatever you'd want. There was a choice of 4 or 5 different things you could do. But the most important thing is the team was together, and we were able to make that experience happen. And we've done a few of these now, and it's always a good time.
So team building, does it include the family, Dan?
This year it did not, and we really had a reflection at the end. We think we would have done better if we were at least to be able to include the spouses. In the past, it's a lot of extra expense, but I think that we missed a lot of people that would have gone had they had some of their own people with them. So sure. I'm not going to say we're going to go to children and everything, but doing spouses, I think, is what we're going to do this year.
Do you akin Profit First to budgeting, Dan, Heather?
Absolutely.
Oh,
I think it helps you budget, even though you don't really realize you're budgeting. You are.
It's budgeting if you don't have a CPA license.
Yeah.
The way I see it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, so I sit down with my accountant and we look at a P&L budget for next year, and there is, I guess we'll maybe take charity or excursion or my debt to the government. And let's just say the debt to the government's 2.5%. Just let's pick a number, whatever it is. It's on my profit and loss statement. It's there, but the cash isn't. It's just a number, right? However the cash comes there, we got to work our tail off to bring in the expense and to manage the margin and control the costs in order for me to pay that 2.5%. But if I put it away once a month and I have a chance to look at that and say, I got my butt covered.
And it'll make you sick at the same time at how much you're going to end up spending.
Yes, it will.
Yes, it is. It's a much better feeling to know that you have that allocated for the taxes and that you'll be able to tell and you'll be able to write the check come April and no penalties, no interest. It's a good feeling.
So only look at that account if you have Pepto-Bismol with you. Is that right, Heather?
I agree. It's sort of sad, but it is good. Then that way you're not running into a problem. And Lord knows you don't want to have a fight with the IRS.
No, you don't. Oh my God, no, you don't. They love sending you letters.
Well, after you look at the tax account with your Pepto, then you can look at the profit account and realize how much money you've actually made throughout the year.
Yes. And then go have a glass of wine because you're doing good. Celebrate. Hey, this was great. Profit First Revisited. I enjoyed our conversation. Very frank, very straight up, very forward. That hopefully we've convinced a whole bunch that are our listeners to either, number one, do Profit First. And if you are doing Profit First and you haven't done it with good discipline, hopefully our Heather and Dan have helped you and motivated you to go out and get it done or keep it up. So thank you so much. Great to have you here. Heather DePriest from American Garage in Chinook, Montana, and Dan Bryant, CFO of American Pride Automotive. 5 stores, soon to be 6 out in Virginia.
Soon to be 6 out in Virginia. Yes, sir.
Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.